Hillary Clinton is sweating bullets tonight after the GOP made an unexpected announcement about a new Senate investigation. Randy DeSoto for the Western Journal reports that the name of the FBI informant who was blocked by the Obama Justice Department from testifying to Congress and in court has now been revealed. Reuters reported that the lobbyist William D. Campbell, he is the informant, and he will testify and provide documents to Congress about the Obama administration's 2010 approval of the Uranium One sale, a Canadian company with uranium mines in the United States to Russia's Rosatom. Now, someone like that needs to get in the witness protection program, okay, with no ties to the Clinton, because what's going to happen? This guy's going to get suicided, right? They're going to find him with a suicide note with, 2 bullets to the back of the head, right? That's how the Clintons like to do it. Now, the informant's attorney told the news outlet that despite her client telling the government at the time how corrupt the company was, Rosatom was still granted permission to purchase Uranium One. They say here, citing a non-disclosure agreement Campbell signed when agreeing to work for the FBI, the Obama Justice Department threatened him with criminal prosecution in the summer of 2016 during the presidential campaign when he sought to bring the suit in federal court to highlight the Russian corruption. Isn't that interesting? In the middle of the campaign, the Obama administration puts their foot down. They don't want this guy talking. Why? Because it would derail the Democrats' chances. It would, Hillary's chances, right? They say here the Senate Judiciary Committee has launched an investigation to determine whether several federal agencies knew the FBI had uncovered a racketeering scheme involving Russian officials prior to the Obama administration's approval of the Uranium One sale. So,
good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. Tucker's getting an early start on the pumpkin pie, and I'm the turkey he pardoned. One man is a deadly seductive cult leader. The other is Charles Manson. That's Newsweek's take on President Trump's similarities to the deceased killer Charles Manson. We'll discuss that in just a bit. But first, a wave of sexual misconduct allegations has turned into a tsunami, sweeping away all of Los Angeles County, Manhattan Island, and the District of Columbia. First, it was the Hollywood Titans, Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey, Louis C.K. Then it was Senator Al Franken. Now, Charlie Rose has been fired by both CBS and PBS after multiple accusers came forward. And today, Rose's CBS This Morning co-hosts addressed his misconduct allegations.
Let me be very clear. There is no excuse for this alleged behavior. This will be investigated. This has to end. This behavior is wrong.
Both my son and my daughter called me. Oprah called me and said, "Are you okay?" I am not okay. After reading that article in the Post, it was deeply disturbing, troubling, and painful for me to read. What do you say when someone that you deeply care about has done something that is so horrible?
Meanwhile, in Washington, even Nancy Pelosi says Democrat Congressman John Conyers must face an ethics investigation for allegedly harassing numerous women on his staff. We'd be remiss, by the way, if we didn't revisit what our old friend Maxine Waters once had to say about Conyers.
You know, there is a member of Congress who has been supportive of women for many, many years. He is quiet, he is confident, he is powerful, but he has impeccable integrity on all of our issues. Give John Conyers a big round of applause.
Yeah. Give him a big hand and he'll put his big hand all over you. Across the country, it's one Democrat after another now. The chair of the Florida Democratic Party has resigned over misconduct. In New York, a woman says former Democrat Assemblyman Sam Hoyt sent her nude photos and threatened to have her fired if she resisted his advances. In her lawsuit, the woman says Governor Andrew Cuomo's administration ignored her complaints. And in California, the Disney animation head and longtime Democratic donor John Lasseter is taking a leave of absence after acknowledging his own, quote, missteps. It must come as a shock to those who still fancy Democrats the, quote, party of women. Roy Moore's starting to look kind of lonely as an accused person on the political right. And speaking of Roy Moore, President Trump weighed in for the first time today on the allegations against him.
I can tell you one thing for sure. We don't need a liberal person in there, a Democrat. He denies it. Look, he denies it. I mean, if you look at what is really going on and you look at all the things that have happened over the last 48 hours, he totally denies it. He says it didn't happen. And, you know, you have to listen to him also. You're talking about, he said 40 years ago this did not happen.
He totally denies it. Meanwhile, Charlie Rose has a 48-year broadcasting career vaporized in 24 hours. Penny Young-Nance is president of Concerned Women for America. She joins us. Penny, these are all liberal icons who are falling here, not just Charlie Rose, Kevin Spacey. That's like the coolest TV drama for liberals and progressives. Then you have Harvey Weinstein, the maker of all the upscale Oscar bait chick flicks. Is there a pattern one can discern here about supposedly the side of women and what they're actually like in private?
Well, you know, look, I feel a little bit like we flipped on the light and we're watching the cockroaches scatter. And as miserable as this is and as uncomfortable, it's important to happen. We have to expose this in order to get rid of the moral decay. And honestly, Mark, this isn't just a Democrat issue. It's a Republican and a Democrat issue. And we've got to be honest about that. The EEOC estimates that, I think this is a high number, that 1 in 4 women have experienced sexual harassment in the workplace. Regardless of what the number is, it's horrific, and we have to be serious about it. And we've got to step forward and meet this head on and deal with it because it's a heart issue. But I do have to say that I wonder 20 years ago if Patty Murray and Dianne Feinstein and Susan Collins had stepped forward and challenged Bill Clinton, if we would be further down the road. Well, because I think this process will work its way out. At the end of this, we will be better.
Well, to go back to what you were just saying there, in the 90s, we were explicitly told that character doesn't matter. The people said, who cares if this guy...
It's just about sex,
Who cares if this guy is a pig? It's just about sex. Everybody does it. What's changed then?
Well, you know, I think that there's a reckoning because we've ignored this, and because we've ignored the decay, it's been allowed to flourish. And it's a serious issue. As a mother of a 20-year-old, I think all of us have to recognize we want better for our children. We thought the days of Mad Men were over. Some of us knew better, but it's not, and it's real. And I want my $14 million taxes that were paid out for congressmen to get paid back. I'd like to see them explain to their wives what happened to the money in their paychecks when it's garnished back to the American people. We have to take this seriously.
That seems to be pure Mad Men, in fact, where it's recognized that that male members of Congress are entitled to let their wandering hands wander where they may, and then the taxpayers will pay for it. But let me ask you about the broader liberal scene. I mean, some of these guys seem to have figured out that actually being a liberal progressive is a great way to meet vulnerable chicks and hit on them. I mean, basically, Harvey Weinstein seems to use all those classy movies with Meryl Streep and Judi Dench as cover for hitting on the broads who come into his orbit. The same thing I think you can say about Charlie Rose at PBS. I mean, in a sense, are they factoring, is that part of the business model that's actually where you go to meet the kind of women you can prey on?
Well, I don't know why that that they allowed Harvey Weinstein to be at the Women's March backstage with women that he had assaulted. You know, I think that's absolutely outrageous. But we have to be honest that licentiousness cannot be ignored, whether it's in Hollywood, whether it's in journalism. And the next shoe to drop, mark my words, Mark, will be in the hollowed halls of academia.
Oh yeah, that's a whole world with all those college professors.
That is
Penny,
a right ground right there.
Penny, thanks for that. Nobody.
Thank you.